Rovers.
How great the robe of liberation, a formless field of merit, wrapping ourselves in Buddha's teaching, we free all living beings. And though I thus liberate countless beings, not a single being is liberated.
Incense chant. Precepts incense, liberation of use incense, cloud of lighted incense pouring into the Dharma realms, offering to the highest teachers of the 10 directions. I respectfully bow to the altar of the incense cloud. Bodhisattva. Jasmine, how should I proceed with this part?
You can either do just deep sitting bows, or if you want to, you can do the prostration by like stepping back up to the bell and ringing it, and then going back to where you can fully kneel. It's either way, it's up to you. If you choose to do the full bows, just go slowly and carefully. It's easy to rush.
I'll do the sitting.
Okay.
Wisdom dedication.
We dedicate this time and place to the three jewels, to the Buddha, the ideal of enlightenment to which we aspire,
to the Dharma, the path of the teaching
that we follow, to the Sangha, the spiritual fellowship with one another that we enjoy. Here may no idle word be spoken. Here may no unquiet thoughts disturb our mind. To the observance of the 5 precepts, we dedicate this place. To the practice of meditation, we dedicate this place. To the ripening of wisdom, we dedicate this place. To the joy of awakening, we dedicate this place. Though in the world outside there is strife, here may there be peace. Though in the world outside there is hate, here may there be joy. Here seated, here practicing, may our minds become Buddha, may our thoughts become Dharma, may our speech together become Sangha, for the happiness of all beings, for the benefit of all beings. With body, speech, and mind, we dedicate this place.
chant of compassion. We surround all forms of life
with infinite love and compassion. Especially do we send out compassionate thoughts to those in suffering and sorrow, to those in doubt and ignorance, to all who are striving to attain truth, and to those who speak stand close to the great change called death. We send forth all wisdom, mercy, and love.
May the infinite light of wisdom and compassion so shine within us
that the errors and vanities of self may be dispelled. So shall we understand the changing nature of existence and awaken into spiritual peace. Would it be easier if I muted? I think that there's a delay in the audio lining up.
Delay is nice. The delay is nice.
Really?
Yeah, because it shows participation.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Thank you, Robert, for continuing to host it even though I'm not there.
Indeed. The refuges.
I take refuge in the Buddha.
I take refuge in the Buddha.
I take refuge in the Dharma.
I take refuge in the Dharma.
I take refuge in the Sangha.
I take refuge in the Sangha. The five precepts.
I take up the practice of not harming living beings.
I take up the practice of not harming living beings.
I will not take what is not offered.
I will not take what is not offered.
I will not misuse sexuality or sensuality.
I will not misuse sexuality or sensuality.
I will practice gentle, truthful speech.
I will practice gentle, truthful speech.
I will not deal in nor misuse intoxicants.
I will not deal in nor misuse intoxicants.
Okay, I think I am gonna mute for this one because it's I think it's gonna be too difficult.
Okay.
And I'll unmute after.
The Buddha Sarangamagata. True nature is free from all phenomena, which are illusions by causes created. Phenomena neither rise nor fall, but all phenomena are flowers in the sky, created unreal reveals the real, but both are but illusions, since there is nothing real nor unreal. How can there be a subject and an object? For between the two there is no true nature, like the point where two rush bundles meet when set upright, tying and untying from the same cause arise, while the saintly and the worldly are not dual. Consider underlying nature at the point of meeting, where both is and is not, cannot be. If you disregard it, you are in delusion. If you awaken to it, you are free at once. 6 knots are untied, one after the other. When 6 are undone, one vanishes as well. To the sense organ that is all penetrating, to enter the holy stream and attain Bodhi. Old habits flow like torrents in a light, subtle consciousness, since the real yet unreal can create confusion. I have refrained from revealing it to you. If mind be set on searching for the mind, that which at heart is not illusion becomes illusory. If you stop all grasping, there is nothing real. If what is not illusion ceases to arise, where can illusion be? This is the profound lotus Dharma, the precious Bodhi of the royal gem, the samadhi of seeing all things as illusion, which in a finger snap leads to the state beyond all study. The unsurpassed doctrine was followed by all Bhagavats in all directions, on the one path that to Nirvana leads.
I'll go ahead and do the Dharma talk unless you had something or you wanted to do it, Robert.
No, go ahead.
Okay. All right. So, as you guys might know or could tell, I'm traveling right now, so attending remotely. Something I noticed, and I notice all the time, is traveling tends to be one of the more stressful things for a lot of people when they think of, high anxiety, um, being nervous. There's a lot of different, feelings, thoughts that we encounter just thinking about needing to travel, right? I mean, you have especially plane travel, which is the way that I travel the most. I mean, you have TSA and you have getting to the gate, you have things like boarding and deplaning and layovers, and sometimes even just the thought of saying those things makes people nervous. And I see it all the time in airports. People that are nervous, even if everything is okay, they can't seem to stop fidgeting, or they can't seem to stop talking about how nervous they are or being upset that, well, why isn't anything happening, you know? And it's this idea that we feel this sort of a lack of control, and it's also a unfamiliarity. It's we're not sure what's going to happen. How would I deal with the situation if things go wrong? And it's kind of a fear of the inconvenience of having to find out if it does happen. Now, I have had the opportunity to overcome all of those feelings. One, because I travel a lot, and two, because of my practice. But most people don't ever get the opportunity to overcome that sort of thing. And I think that, each one of us have certain things that make us anxious, that make us nervous, that are unfamiliar or unpleasant to deal with. And maybe it stems from that same thing. Maybe it stems from the lack of exposure to it. I mean, you don't really know where your weak spots are until they're pointed out, until it, you get poked by being put in these situations, where you're like, wow, I am not as resilient as I thought I am. And that's really why it's really important not to shut yourself in, not to, not to turn away from the world, but to be able to have that flexibility and work on the resiliency that comes with everyday, human things. Things like maybe meetings or interviews, maybe having a hard conversation with somebody, maybe finances. I mean, things that we tend to want to put to the back of our minds, or we think that we're justified in the way we feel because, like, maybe the means justifies the ends justify the means, right? Like, if being anxious in an airport gets me to the gate on time, I'm gonna keep being anxious because that is what I need to be worried about, so I get there and I don't miss my plane. But it becomes inappropriate when, like, you've used that for what it's worth. You've used the anxiety to say it's really important that I catch this plane and I need to make every effort to be at the gate on time. Well, I mean, once you've identified that that's what needs to happen, holding on to that anxiety is just mutilation at that point. It's self-harm. And so, this piece that people seem to be missing is, how do we let go of that thought, of that feeling when it's done, when the usefulness is over? I mean, with finances, a lot of times it's every 2 weeks, right? And you're just like, a lot of us are feeling this now. That second weekend, you're worried, you're concerned. I mean, it's good to be concerned. It's good to be vigilant and make a note of the things that you're worried about. But like, there's nothing you can do until your next paycheck, right? For most of us. So once you've exhausted all of the usability, all of the benefits of those thoughts that help keep us vigilant, let them go. Loosen your grip. And it's interesting because I mean, we talk about it all the time, but it can be really hard to remember and really hard to apply when you're faced with these tough situations. And it really is just as simple as having these toolkits that we talk about all the time, like focusing on a sense object. And that's why it's so important to follow this procedure that we have. And I tend to like to talk about things directly and analytically, not so much artfully. So like, I think about our method of using these two sense objects as a tool, as a procedure, as something that we should be able to sharpen it so much that it should just be as easy as taking it out wherever you go, so you can use it, and then that's it. Like, there's no romanticizing it. It's, I'm in the airport and I know I need to get to my gate, or I'm standing in line at TSA and there's really nothing for me to do about it. And it's about finding a sense object like we do in our meditation, and curating or having a thought arise about a sense object, something that's real, something that's around you, something you can sense, like maybe the floor, like the walls, like maybe a light, maybe someone's suitcase, right, at the airport, and just name off those 3 physical attributes. Flat, maybe it's shiny, maybe it's smooth. And we do that in order to give our brain a chance and our mind a chance to let go of the thought that's creating all of these emotions about anxiety, these emotions that make us impatient, these emotions that make us use our speech unskillfully. And it's resolving it, really. And once you get to that place where you can think about that sense object, and your thoughts, your inflammatory thoughts are subsiding, now you can go fully into that meditative effort and get to supreme Bodhi, get to mind, because you've been able to relax your grip. And it can take a couple minutes, because sometimes those feelings have physiological effects, like chemically, they can affect your brain. And so it's important to be patient, and it's important to be able to identify when it's needed. And most of the time, identifiers, if you work backwards, you can say, like, if it affects my speech towards people, if I get impatient, if I say things that I regret saying, then that there's something there that you missed. If you find yourself being super irritable, like, why is everybody in my way right now? That's another sign. If you think that you need to blame it on somebody else, that's another sign. I mean, and so it's important to recognize your when you're being unskillful, and it's important to watch your thoughts, because ultimately that's where it comes back to, is a thought created that feeling of discomfort, and that feeling of discomfort created your reaction to other people. So being familiar with that process is really important, so that when you do have those thoughts, you can cut them off and use the Supreme Bodhi before they become an issue of an action. Yeah, I mean, once it's no longer useful, just SB it. No. I'm, thinking of ways to remind yourself, that this is the effort, and that can be things like maybe mantras, that can be things like jewelry, maybe something that you carry around that is that doesn't trigger you, that you can use and come back to as a sense object. It's important to find things that won't cause more problems. So don't choose a sense object that's going to trigger you. But I mean, all of this anxiety and worry, and while there's a place for those feelings, we really should be using these opportunities as kind of an exposure therapy. It's kind of like a I'm gonna resolve this, because if we don't resolve it, it's going to fester, and it's going to continue to come up if we do resolve it. And the Buddha teaches us that if we are able to overcome these obstacles, if we are able to get to Supreme Bodhi in the face of difficulty, if we are able to resolve these thoughts that may be plaguing us or leading to unskillful action, after enough time resolving the thoughts, after enough time getting to Supreme Bodhi in the face of those thoughts, they stop arising. And so it really does become an effort of extinguishing them completely, so they don't re-arise again. So I think that is really encouraging, because it's not like you're going to be you're going to forever be nervous about traveling. If you work on this, there will be a light at the end of the tunnel. It will stop, but you have to be vigilant. And every time that you're not vigilant and you let it slide, you're contributing to that unskillfulness. And so just taking everyday situations and creating them, or letting them be this learning opportunity to work on your resiliency, is really important. And taking it beyond just these Sunday afternoons that we have together, beyond just your meditation, is really the crux of the whole practice, right? So that is going to end my Dharma talk for today. Announcements. I'll be back next Sunday. So we'll resume as usual next Sunday. Other than that, we're posting these videos on YouTube still, thanks to Robert, and I don't have any other announcements. Does anybody else have anything? All right.
Closing Gata. Let me respectfully
remind you, life and death are of supreme importance. Time passes swiftly and opportunity is lost. Each of us should strive to awaken. Awaken. Take heed. Do not squander your life.
Offering of merit.
May the merit of this penetrate into each thing in all places, so that we and every sentient being together can realize the Buddha's way.
All Buddhas throughout space and time,
all Bodhisattvas, Mahasattvas, wisdom, experience, supreme Bodhi.